Hi there Virgo, here's a general look at your solar chart for October 2012, and just a word first about our old friend Saturn. Saturn is moving on October the 6th out of the area of your solar chart to do with finances and property and possessions and such like, and into the next area. So that's where you've had to be most, at times, plodding and organised and persevering. Well, the next area is going to be your communications sector, to do with education as well, media, and can also be connected to vehicles and transport and travel. So here is where Saturn is bringing her pressures, her limitations, and occasionally throwing a spanner in the works and definitely putting down the obstacles, because Saturn is the great tester and teacher of the zodiac. Boy, do we learn under a transit of Saturn. We don't forget the lessons under a transit of Saturn, do we? So now all types of mental work are going to be needing more consistent effort from you. More organizing, more structuring, and maybe you're going to have to be more organized and persevering regarding deadlines, any kind of paperwork, correspondence, any kind of media work, education. It might be to do with taking a course for some of you, and you just have to slowly and ploddingly develop things there. Saturn rules time, which is why everything happens slowly under Saturn, because over time things unfold, but also we need time to meet the difficulties and the blocks and the resistances that Saturn throws in our path, because she is testing us. Anyway, it's good news that Saturn is coming out of that very materialistic area of your chart, and that should take that heaviness away, that pressure away there, and if you've been feeling extra specially challenged, then that should start to lift depending on where you are in the sign of Virgo. Saturn will be coming pretty close to that end point, that end part of the sign of Virgo, or be making her influence felt to the end part of the sign of Virgo for a little while, but not very long. So all types of educational type work or communications just across the board, and you might find yourself in a position where you have to repeat yourself, or or some sort of routine to do with travel or speaking or working in a self-expressive way is repetitive. It becomes a routine, and you have to sort of keep putting the message across, or be the explainer or the teacher, and then also keep to certain schedules, get your head around communications equipment, and figure out how to work it. But of course you are a Virgo, and many Virgos love gadgets. But many don't. But if you're one of those, then that's not going to be a problem for you at all. But this is for the ones who maybe would find it a little bit of a problem. So Saturn is really going to help you to learn the lessons, and those lessons you won't forget. So you'll figure it out, and if you can't figure it out, then get somebody to help you. But anyway, this goes on until 2015, and as with all the planetary energies, you're likely to feel the influence of Saturn most, and any of the other planets most, when it transits across the degree of an important point in your natal chart. Okay, so anyway, for this month in general, finances, property, anything which affects your material security, physical well-being, will be more emphasized. And with Saturn coming out there on the 6th, that it's likely that it's not going to be too bad. So a theme this month is centered around stuff, your stuff, their stuff. I want you to get your hands on more stuff. but maybe also maintaining it, protecting it, moving it, ditching it, weighing it up as well. So anything about paraphernalia, but also money, the piggy bank, resources of various kinds. So it might not be money, it might be a space, it might be a venue, it might be what you have, or what you are able to use. And you may be considering your financial position, or you may be developing some sort of project or enterprise, something that's ongoing, developing, it needs your continued practical nurturing attention, whether that's something to do with your on the mental side of things, or whether it's physical, like the garden, something like that. Or maybe we could just use the garden as a metaphor. So that you need to be digging the garden, you need to be doing the housework with the sun here. And some of you could find health matters, yours or another, could be more emphasized as well. So that might be around nutrients, diet, exercise, therapies, remedies. All of those could be emphasized at this time. But more than anything, this is the time for you to be digging the garden. That is you, Virgo, that patch of earth, which is you. And because this is also, the sun is in an area which is lighting up anything to do with your talents, your innate, inborn gifts. And all of us have at least one, if not many more. But of course we have to decide which one we're going to feed, we're going to give our attention to, we're going to help to grow. So this is also a good time for that. Now, until the 5th, conversations tend to be around this area here, money, a venue, a space, the material, basic stuff of life, really, and useful resources. Property tends to be emphasized, and there could be correspondence about that, paperwork about that, and chats around that sort of thing. And if you are wanting to improve things here, then it's a time to be capitalizing upon an asset, and maybe that asset is you, or maybe it's something that you know. But it also can be to do with buying, selling, renting, leasing, and availing yourself somehow or other of a resource, or somebody perhaps giving you something to avail themselves of a resource that you've got. Then from the 5th, Mercury enters a different area, comes out of there, a very sociable area of your solar chart, but it's also to do with communications, media, creative self-expression, paperwork. So it goes from the mundane to the creative and back again. And it's also about running around more, toing and froing, meeting, greeting, mixing, mingling, speaking, writing. Did I say that? And it can be a great time for making connections, picking up useful little morsels, tasty little snippets of information, but also a good time for promotions, and that can be in person or over the wires. Venus stays in a background area until the 3rd, so relationships could be flourishing within some kind of bubble, some kind of sort of private environment there, some sort of, maybe for some of you, retreat, or just a close-knit environment away from the eyes of the world. That's been there for a lot of September, or most of September. And if you're listening to this in September, then that's where Venus is. But from the 3rd, that element of secrecy, or maybe just self-nurture and keeping yourself to yourself, then that slips away, and then Venus comes from the 7th, from the 3rd, the planet of love, material success and physical balance arrives in your sign. So there could be treats in the pipeline, Virgo. People like your style, you can come across as attractive and appealing. Maybe it's time for a makeover, or putting on your glad rags. It can be yeah, definitely time for that. And also Venus in your sign tends to boost relationships, at least offers more opportunity to, you know, mix and mingle successfully with others, and maybe meet a special other as well. That's a possibility. With Venus here, you will tend to be up for it. You're ready to put yourself out there again after a little time of being tucked away. And once you treat yourself to activities, you know, be a little bit self-indulgent. Why not just sit back, rest back on the sort of silk cushions and let others do it for you? Well, you know, I mean, even a Virgo's got to rest sometime and put her feet up, or his feet up. But anyway, Venus is about money as well, so you could be doing well, a little bit better there financially, especially with Saturn lifting up its baggage and moving out of that area there. But it's not all easy peasy with Venus, because of course Venus oils the wheels wherever she goes. Well, if that flow of money perhaps is not coming towards you, but is coming out from you into, you know, out of your pocket, then you don't want that to be going crazily out of balance there. So just a sort of word in your ear about that one. And this is a time for you to be utilizing assets, acquiring assets, maintaining and protecting assets as well. But definitely a time when which can be a little bit more profitable for you, or deliver rewards in other ways. It doesn't always have to be about money. So use your talents wisely, recognize what they are, and you know where that talent sits is where you kind of always get this little sort of tingle of excitement about doing this certain thing, which maybe you've never considered to be something that you could be good at, without killing yourself, of course, but without being too critical about yourself as well, because you often are Virgo. So anyway, learn how to use those talents by learning the skills you need to sort of channel them through, and you can capitalize on those too during that transit there. But also when Venus goes into the next area after that, which will be the next month. Now, for several months, Jupiter will be guiding you along the path of expansion related to your general direction in life. So really, you know, there's no excuse now. You're getting the vibes that are underpinning and supporting you even more now, Virgo. Mars, well, I mentioned of Mars, until the end of the first week, Mars continues in your solar communications sector. So you very much being on the go mentally, physically, perhaps getting your head around new things, being you know, very chatty time, mixing, mingling, flying hither and thither. But you should start to feel more confident about taking decisions, taking the initiative, seizing the opportunity, because Mars likes to take the initiative. Mars likes to be out in front in somewhere or other. So in this area here, so if things have been up in the air or you've been uncertain, this is the time that you can be more definite about how things are and what you've got to do about them. But also might have to be dealing with more paperwork, more if it's creative, then that's one thing, or it might be, you know, mundane type paperwork as well, and getting things organized on that sort of mental level of your life. And unless you were born in the first couple of days of your sign, you are feeling that sort of dreamy influence of Neptune there, which can make you lose your focus, or make you uncertain, or feel that things are a bit up in the air. But Mars generally will even help that as well, because Mars will want you to be more almost like black and white about things, and not all the colours of the rainbow, just kind of floating there. And then from the 7th, Mars moves to the root of your chart. It's going to be there for a while, well on into November, and until about halfway through November, I think. And that means that you could be busier than usual, getting organized in and around a base of operations, or your home, or a space, or maybe being busy because of property matters, and can be to do with family though, as well. So there's a danger that you can spread yourself too thin. There's more demands on you because of that, and physical effort may be needed because of the demands there related to family or a living space or a working space, but also to do with the general sort of the bubble of the vibe of the tribe around the community, the neighborhood, but it might also mean that you're being more dynamic, more proactive at home or from some sort of place that you're in at the moment. Generally, Mars in this area means there's likely to be more hustle and bustle around you, increased demands on your vitality, and as always with Mars, there can be moments of tension and conflict because Mars is a bit feisty. Mars wants its own way. So definitely things might be surfacing now and again to affect your mood, but also Mars from the end of the first week is moving into a more sort of emotional area anyway, so it is connecting you with the past, whether that's the past to do with the blast from the past with what's around you, or whether that's to do with your own nostalgia, your own memories, or just your own unconscious knee-jerk reactions to things, so be aware. But you can get on with practical tasks here and be very, very productive and helpful and helpful to others, which is what you like to do. From the 23rd, you could be mentally or physically busier, on the move more, making new connections or dealing with more paperwork, because that's when the Sun moves into that area there, which is joining in where Mercury moves to from the 5th, Mercury being your ruling planet, so it's quite important. And that's it for October. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, then listen to those, and if you're not on my website already, go there, and if you haven't read them already, read what the outer slower moving planets are doing, because if you put all those pieces together and synthesize the whole lot, you're going to get an inkling or a vague sort of idea of what the sort of thing might be coming up over October. And I hope that helps, and I'll see you the next time.